Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. It's good to see so many familiar faces, a lot of new faces. I'm Eliza McCoy. I'm Vice President of Programs and Impact at the HLA Foundation. I'm going to go ahead and dive us right into this panel because I know we have just a short amount of time to cover quite a bit about workforce. So if you guys will join me up on stage and we'll dive right in. All right. Um, what I was saying is that I don't personally like to go through whole biographies of our speakers. You can certainly see names and titles on the screen here, but I'd like to start off with just sort of a what do you really spend your days doing? Because I feel like titles don't always really sum that up well. So with off.
Is this working? Okay, good. Hi, everybody. My name is Lizzie. I am the Chief Happiness Officer, aka Area General Manager, supporting both the Curtis Hotel and Hotel Teatro. So, as Chief Happiness Officer, my primary responsibility is to care for the team members in our hotels who serve our guests and serve our community, and in that way, also serve our owners. So, I spend most of my time just thinking through what that looks like on a day-to-day basis and trying to come up with ways to make their jobs more joyful.
Yes. I love it. All right.
Hello, everybody. Haley Coleman, Vice President of Operations for Natson Hotel Group. So we own 120 properties and we're growing over the next few years as well. And I get to do all the fun stuff because we are in operations and we know what that means. Oh my goodness, get ready for it. The to-do list of amazing things. So operations will do training, we'll roll out initiatives, we handle all the pilots, and it's just a lot of exciting things every single day.
Thank you, Kenan.
Hi everyone, Kenan. I'm General Manager of Sheraton Gateway Los Angeles. I manage 800 keys, 53,000 square footage event space, 300 employees, and I work.
Yeah. Did you hear that? 800 keys, 300 people. I already catch that. Okay, cool. Mic drop. Got it.
I'm going to need it.
Yeah. No, so we've got some very different, diverse perspectives that you all have into what the workforce needs every day in the hotel industry. So let's level set with some definitions, right? When we're talking about workforce ready and high performing teams, you hear that terminology sort of across the board at any industry event these days. How would you guys characterize that for your companies and your people? What does it mean to be workforce ready and what does it mean to have a high performing team? What does it look like?
You want to go first?
I will definitely go first. That works. I would say to define workforce ready, it would be capable and connected. If you're not capable, you're not connected. And that means the entire team, there has to be that synergy. Nothing is going to get completed that day at all. What happens when this silo doesn't know what this silo is doing? Nothing, right? Or a ton of crazy things that don't line up. So capable, connected, and then ever evolving because the market keeps shifting and you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah. Excellent.
I think I would add just one thing. To me, workforce ready is mindset.
A mindset.
It's you have to be at the right mindset the moment you are in front of anyone. If you're not at the right mindset, no matter what you do, you will fail. That's what I would add.
Yeah. The mindset and how you show up every day. And especially when you start to get out on the floor or on property, it makes sense. What about you, Lizzie? How would you say?
I would say, we are working with a workforce that's more emotionally intelligent than ever before. They crave balance and, mental health is a big thing. So as employers to be workforce ready, it's our responsibility to provide them a place that, they can drive. We can drive that culture of belonging and make them feel seen and as if they belong. And we just heard that the workforce is diminishing in the hospitality space, which makes our jobs more important than ever to show our younger leaders that this is a long-term career opportunity for them.
Right. Yeah, I think that we've heard shifts in how the workforce is looking, and we know that when we're thinking about how to create one, use the hungry, really all the. We're just not having any luck today. It looks like the battery now it's back. We know that we talk about sort of all the different touch points we have, and they begin even before someone enters our team, right? So that initial phase of trying to identify the right workforce for your property, let's talk about that phase a bit. I'd like to get a little bit more in detail and how are you and how have you shifted the ways that you identify the right people for the right fit for your high performing team? What are some of those strategies and tools that you guys have been using differently now?
Yeah, for me, the when I'm interviewing somebody, it's important to me that it is a conversation and that it feels less like an interview. And it's two-sided, right? I mean, they need to decide if we're the right fit for them just as much as I'm deciding if they're the right fit for my team. You can also uncover a lot of kind of quirks about somebody by getting them to let their guard down and making it seem a little bit less professional. And I think that that can be really valuable when you're speaking with someone about a career move.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. But it's also hard to balance that level of sort of candor but professionalism, right? You're still in a place of trying to have a managed conversation that doesn't kind of get into the buddy buddy version of it, but you want to get to know them enough for that fit conversation. Great. Haley, what about some strategies you've thought of or sort of secret tricks you use?
All the secret tricks. I would say kind of throw the pitch out. We all have that job role where we're like, this is the role. And you kind of almost stick to it. And you're like, it's this, and that. Really kind of shape it more of the purpose of this role, how this fits into the big picture of the company, what your day would look like partnering beside us. Like that's the conversation, the candid conversation that you need to have. And I agree 100%. Like get that going, start having those type of dialogue, and eventually you do hear a lot of what they're looking for. And then in your mind, you need to be like, is this going to fit with the team I have established? Because we all know when we start to build out departments, every hire needs to be strategic. You need to ensure that that's a good blend and also that you can support them. Like, what does that job look like for them, even down the road? You always need to be thinking down the road as well.
Kenan, you talked a lot about sort of this transparency, this upfront conversation. How does that work for you? What does that look like?
We have done several different things. We don't write down questions anymore. It's conversational, but the questions are customized to the individual in front of us. Workforce is getting smarter. They can Google anything.
Yeah, they could Google
They do.
or
So
ChatGPT.
if you can Google an answer, we will not ask you that question. We want to get to know you. We'll let you talk. And to your point, it's amazing when you let people talk what they tell you. Just let them talk. The second part of it, we are very transparent. Prior to 2019, workforce was not very sensitive. Right now, everyone is extremely sensitive. We have eliminated two things. I didn't know, you didn't tell me. We tell them everything, good and bad. If you eliminate that two questions, it builds the trust, and it really has helped us quite a bit.
So what are you really telling them? Give me an example.
I'll give you an example. We have 500 check-ins, 500 checkouts a day, which means 2 hours and 47 minutes you might not be able to move to go to even restroom. It does not mean this will happen every day, but they have to know it will happen. The more information you give, the better understanding that team member will have. Depending on position they hold, at a big, fast-paced environment where occupancy could shift 40%, 50% if you have distressed passengers, it's important for those people to be at the right mindset, right understanding, to understand there might be days will be easy, but there are days they will work and they will be rewarded for it. And when you're transparent, when you're telling everything in advance, it builds the respect. They don't go and talk behind your back anymore while they didn't tell me, I'm looking for another job.
You reduce the drama overall. Moving
It
forward.
eliminates
Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Yeah. What are the positive things that you're selling in those conversations? So you're telling them you might not get to go to the bathroom sometimes, but then here's the type of culture we have, or what are those sort of positive elements you're also sharing from the upfront?
I think with us, obviously, we have 300 plus employees, which means we have 300 positions. We have 14 directors and total 26 managers. It's opportunities. One thing also we do, we ask them if they want to advance in the industry or not. Not everyone wants to advance, so don't waste their time, don't waste your time. It's very crucial to understand. Are they there for a paycheck or are they there to advance? So once they know, a team member likes to advance, then you customize your approach to those team members and tell them all of the goods. A general manager makes more than a lawyer or a doctor at a big hotel. There are a lot of goods to sell. There's a lot of benefits. At this conference, hopefully no one is Marriott is here. If you're a Marriott employee at the conference, you would have gotten 129 rate, or if you're not an employee, you pay $500. So the benefits are endless.
Right. And they vary significantly by their business model and what that looks like. And so knowing those well and knowing how to sort of stack that deck when you're in that conversation is important. All right. So let's move from that initial conversation. Let's assume you've brought them on board. That initial phase of, we like to call it onboarding, but I think that sort of assumes that it's like a short training period. But that ramp up phase, what are things that you're thinking of creatively to ensure that you're meeting the needs of where the workforce is now?
We treat our associates, our incoming team members, as if they are our internal guests. So we have them fill out preference sheets before they start. So we know, what they like to do with their free time, what kind of TV they like to watch, or music they like, their favorite snacks. And we can use that as their onboarding so that we can demonstrate that we care about them. We do this for our guests and honor their preferences. Why don't we do that for our team members as well? So that's one small way that we try to acknowledge that they're part of the team and part of our community. The other thing that I find to be really important and beneficial is in the first week or so, I always try to get new hires a lunch buddy. And whether it's a different lunch buddy every day or lunch buddy just on that first day, it's special to just have somebody that it takes away one question. Who am I having lunch with today, or where am I having lunch? And it gives them a contact probably in another department to assist with kind of the first day jitters. So that's something that we like to do to just kind of help them feel
Little
like
smiles from students that we have in the audience of like the preference sheet idea of like, what do you mean you want to know my favorite music? That's kind of fun. Yeah, that's new. That's different. It's a different way of looking at things.
I want a lunch buddy. My goodness.
I'll be your lunch buddy.
Oh, sweet. Sweet. I would say, just to kind of piggyback on that, is catering it to what they like. So I like to do a pulse check. How many of us have started a new role, or even within the same company you've been working for, and you're like going through that week and you're like, am I doing it right? Am I missing something? Should there be a meeting?
Yeah, knowing where you're standing in that process.
Yeah, making sure that you're checking in, do a quick pulse check. It doesn't need to be a 45-minute meeting. Not everything needs to be 45-minute meeting, but just ensuring that they know that you're there and available, and keep it exciting. You want to make sure that the team's excited. We just brought someone new in, and how does that role support them? Like, you need to keep explaining the purpose of the role.
Excellent. Kenan, any creative strategies in that sort of initial ramp up?
I think one thing we have changed, every job I have been, every hotel that I had control to manage,
Yeah.
old school, you hire someone, trade them 4 hours, throw them to the wolves. We have one rule: front of the house, guest facing employees for the first week cannot be facing guests. Obviously, we have a lot of resources being such a big property.
Right.
However, when I was at the residency and we would do the same, it would drive my managers crazy. But once they were trained, we would have create a schedule. Every new hire would meet with every department head, every supervisor, so to just feel they're part of something, to build their confidence. And that also goes to the right mindset. You can't expect someone to be successful after training them for 4 hours and putting them at the desk. Okay, now shadow someone, you will learn. Just imagine how that individual might feel. I've been there, and I refuse to do that to someone else. I think if you truly train someone, it will allow you to keep them longer, versus you hire someone, you train them for 4 hours, you keep them for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you just wasted a month of payroll and they go somewhere else because you didn't support them right.
Right. The churn and burn.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. No, that's what I was just thinking as you go, we're all sitting here and sharing these thoughts. I was like, this is a lot of time, energy, and effort on your parts to do this. But clearly the equation has a return on investment. And that's from that retention standpoint, at least, or at least less sunk costs in employees that kind of check out and say, this wasn't what I signed up for.
I think that people
Keeps happening, man.
who are well, there we go.
Yeah.
People who are well trained and invested in from the beginning are much more likely to be your really productive and engaged team members for the long haul. And you think about like you're almost like depositing a seed of kindness in them, and then they go and spread it around the different departments. So the more you can invest in those new hires, the more they become kind of your culture champions.
I like it. Culture champions. I like that term. I like that term. Yeah. So let's think about that retention. I mean, obviously, sort of doing those things right from the very beginning is going to continue to turn over in spades. But as you're looking at individuals, some who want advancement, others who do not, what are some creative strategies along the sort of retention space? I mean, I know we talked about flexibility and the ability to have flexibility as an employee has been really important. And that's been the difference in scheduling. Communications have to be different. Talk through for those employees that are sticking around and hopefully more of them, and they're doing this. What does it look like then? What are you doing to meet their needs? And how does it look different now than it has in the past?
So when I first started, boundaries and work-life balance were weird and strange theories that we spoke about decades and decades ago. But I will say now with COVID and with working remotely, they want that balance. And I think to your point around Liza, with flexibility,
Yeah.
you have to create that. And you also have to protect the space of your associate. So that can be in multiple things. That could be, are we forwarding 7 emails in one day? We streamline communication, just kind of protect them to a way that they can quickly do their job, but still feel like they're supported, they're communicated to, and can actually have a life outside of their day to day.
Right, right. Over communication is not what we're looking for, right? There's a line there. I see Kenan's wheels churning about some ideas that you've had.
Yeah, don't just forward the email.
Don't just forward the emails. Yeah.
I think the way we do is 2 different levels. You have your management staff and you have your hourly associates. At our hotels, being in Los Angeles, there's a lot of opportunities. A management company has dozens of hotels in the market. Promotions are very important. And when someone is bright, we truly support them to get promotion. To us, having someone being promoted from our property does not mean we lost someone. It means we have a new friend somewhere else. So it's very important not to be selfish. Very important to support someone. We all were given an opportunity at a time to be where we are today. Also, one thing we have done has been amazing. No matter it's manager, director, hourly employee, get rid of toxic employees. Every business has a couple of toxic employees that makes your good employees leave.
I see like a lot of nods of recognition in the audience with
Yep.
that one.
It's genuinely my new job, my 26 days, had to let a manager go, operations manager. We have not lost an employee in 6 months. So toxic employees are your worst enemies. If you really want to have a balance at workplace, get rid of toxic employees. And sadly, mostly our managers, they're not hourly employees, from my experience.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Well, so to kind of pull on that thread a little bit further, it sounds like you know who doesn't have the right mindset are those toxic employees. But when you're trying to identify the mindset, the skills that are for the right people for your team, how are you then continuing to develop that same mindset? You talked about how you show up at work. How are you coaching that ongoing mindset in the workplace to meet these needs?
To me, if you are the leader, you have to ensure there is no absence of leadership. When you don't have an absence of leadership, your worst employee could become best employee. People will try to get away with murder if you allow them. If you don't allow them, they'll do their job or they'll leave. I have met with every manager and every employee day or night at my hotel, and I have told them my expectations. I spent 26 days when I transitioned to big hotel to meet with every employee and let them know what my expectations are from each individual and what I can provide. I don't think every one of them liked it, but at least they know what the expectations are and they know what they cannot get away with. Sometimes doing less is actually more. Tell people what you need from them and give them space.
Give them space to meet those
It's
expectations.
very important. Right time, right space. Let them show you if they can deliver or not. Unfortunately, in our industry, we have a lot of general managers that tries to control everything.
Well, the
We-
pressure's on. I mean, I feel like the pressures on GMs can make that feel really necessary.
It is, but I think smart approach is to open your schedule. If you have so much pressure from ownership, management company, asset managers, open your schedule. Delegate work. Allow people to show you, especially at these big hotels, what they can deliver to make your life easier. So next time when there's a promotion opportunity, you know who's ready and who's not.
Yeah. Well, and Haley, I feel like I recognize some of what Keenan's saying in your experience in terms of the letting people meet your expectations, giving that space and that empowerment. Talk us about how that's looked for you as a leader.
I think it's important to do active listening, and that's like all the time. Make sure you're available, and we know we're 365, 24/7. Some of our days we're on a conference call. We see someone teamsing us, and then our phone's ringing as well. So you have to make sure if you need to dedicate time specifically on your calendar, do that. Your team needs to know you're present, that you're there for them, and that you're ready to support them.
Yeah, that you haven't just thrown them to the wolves.
Yes. You hear the saying, you can't run a hotel from the front desk 24/7. Well, you can't be a field operator and not be traveling from site to site. You need to be present. You need to hear what they're saying. You need to understand the battles that they're going through, because that will make you change your process, your policies. You'll be like, wait a second, that might have worked 3 years ago, but I'm hearing now that we might need to revisit that and make some changes.
That's how you reduce those friction points like they talked about yesterday in the Shazam. I'm like, that was a reference. Um, Lizzie, do you have anything that you particularly have found successful in the sort of continuing to develop and lean into good team members?
I try to lead by example when it comes to being curious. So encouraging asking why and asking what if, even when things are going really well. You know, when you have somebody who's as engaged in the hotel industry as, maybe I am, it is so easy to just say everything's going well. We're not going to ask any questions, right? But the greatest ideas come from someone who's curious, and curious people see, challenges as opportunities. And just asking the right questions and then not being offended as a leader that they're asking the questions in the first place. Being okay with that, encouraging the questions, opening up the dialogue to your point and setting that time aside can really help to foster that trust.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the world of sort of education and child safety, we talk about adults need to respond responsibly. Like it's part of your job as a leader to respond to those questions responsibly. It's to actively listen. It's to sort of take a step back to empower them. But you really do have to think about how you fix your face, even, right? Yeah, right. Well, so we keep talking about soft and hard skills. I feel like that comes up in every conversation. I really don't like those terms because I don't think it does a good job of differentiating. But so let's say technical skills and human skills. Those are both so important in any of these industry roles. What are your companies doing, or what do you think works well for both of those sides of the equation? I mean, obviously we think about certifications for technical skills or very specific training programs, but then those people skills, is it modeling? Are there courses or other things that you're requiring of people to learn those skills, or is it just by practice? How are you doing both?
I would think a long time ago, a lot of e-learning centered around check the box, safety, security, all super important, because I see Sherry Foster in the audience. Very important items in a hotel. But we shifted to more of empathy training. So at first, some of those might have been the 15-minute section, at a quick conference, completely changed. So they are demanding time. We're putting that. And we're also doing real life scenarios. So role playing and cross-functional projects. And what I mean by that is it's kind of like that hidden training in it. So it's a project, you're working with your analytics, and all of a sudden they are seeing these numbers come to life by the operations team. And they're like, well, that's great. We'll drive those numbers, but just know this is what we have to go through. These are the conversations we have to have. And then you can see kind of the mindset shifting there.
Yeah. It gives them a perspective to add to their toolbox. Other thoughts on that? Kenan, how are you making sure people have technical expertise, but also, good human skills?
I don't think you can teach someone to be a good person. I think it goes to right hire. We don't require hotel experience when we hire someone.
Wait,
require
pause. Say
customer
that again.
service.
Say that again. I want everyone here. You do not require.
We do not
Hotel
require hotel experience for any line jobs or even supervisory jobs. We only require customer service. You cannot teach someone to be nice. There's so much someone can fake it. Sorry. It's not gonna
Not
happen.
talking about me.
No, man.
Okay, thank you.
And anyone under 40, anyone has an iPhone has certain technical skills. You cannot teach common sense and you cannot teach someone to be right. So choose right. That's what I would say.
I like it. Lizzie, you had looked like you were going to jump in a little bit earlier when you were thinking about.
I was just going to say that more and more technology is kind of running hotels. I mean, there's all this stuff out there and we're learning as quickly as we can, but it's really the humanity that puts the life into a hotel. And as leaders, it's our responsibility to be, seeking fluency in both the technical and the human side of our business so that we can, again, lead by example and be the educators of both spaces.
Right, because not either or. I mean, by sort of automation and technology, humans are here to stay, especially in this industry. I'm sure people want to keep hearing that from us. All right, so we only have a couple more minutes and I want to go full circle back to a lot of what we talk about is even just finding sources of talent. So going back to the beginning, I've seen a trend in industry of individual properties and companies establishing partnerships and relationships in their communities to help source talent differently, right? So not just traditional hospitality schools, but maybe other sources. What are some of those things that you all have done to really think about a different talent pool that doesn't have to have hotel experience, but might have these other skill sets if they're not necessarily naturally coming to you to apply?
So we have a great hospitality program here in Denver at Metro State Denver.
I think we might have some in the audience. Maybe.
In addition to that great talent pool, we really rely, honestly, I was thinking about this question, on internal referrals.
Yeah.
When we have a community of team members and associates who are really proud of where they work and they love coming to a joyful place every day to earn a paycheck and to find purpose, they're so much more likely to want to refer their friends and family or their former colleagues or somebody that they went to school with. So we encourage those internal referrals and it also makes their job more fun to work with their friends, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's probably our greatest source of probably lead referrals when it comes to.
Did you have to incentivize those? Do you have a
Yeah, we do have. Sage Hospitality Group has a very generous internal referral bonus. And we do it across our hotels as well. So it works out really well.
Wonderful. Excellent.
It's going to be really awkward. Same answer on all those. So
no cosign.
Ditto officially. But no, I think internally, your external and internal customers, you can never forget the guests. And I will say this, I have built some amazing relationships over the last 20 years being in this industry. Amazing. Everyone does, she's a hugger. I am a hugger, everybody. But I will tell you this, I get resumes sent to me all the time. And that is because I hope this is because I'm just going to say it when someone raises their hand if I see someone. But it's that consistency. It's that building. We are all, even being here, we are making connections. You will undoubtedly get emails. You're going to get phone calls. People are going to be excited to connect with you. And there you go. It's always constantly recruitment efforts.
Yeah. Yeah. Kenan.
Yes and yes.
Yes.
Sorry, yes and yes.
Triple sign.
We, for the management positions, we call friends. As you said, if you are in the industry, if you are in the city, if you have been in it for long enough, you should have enough connections, enough network to recruit the right talent for the right position. For the hourly positions, we partnered up with the Hospitality Sales Marketing International, Chamber of Commerce, LA Tourism, and pretty much every hospitality school in the city. And just posting a job on Indeed doesn't work anymore. You have to use your network and your resources.
Right. Right. I think that's what we're hearing as a through line is thinking about those creative ways. And I would challenge us even in this conversation. We say no hotel experience and we're talking about like, prospecting hotel schools. So who's not in these rooms that we're maybe not hearing from? And I think some of our younger generation who are already in the industry can give us some ideas about that we can evolve into as we move forward. Well, thank you so much. I know we're at time. On this side, they didn't cut my mic. They have in other stages today. So I appreciate that. But thank you so much for these insights. And I'm sure people would love to pick your brains right after. So we'll stick around for that. Thank you all.
Thank you.